So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again,
I'm going to be quite direct here. The FBI director and deputy director got way ahead of where the local police were.
Okay, where do we even begin? According to the FBI, there was a terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. According to local law enforcement, there was an attack in Boulder, Colorado. According to CNN, Kash Patel and the FBI, they are wrong. They need to slow down.
I'm going to be quite direct here. The FBI director and deputy director got way ahead of where the local police were. The language that the FBI used in their tweets included words like violence, targeted terrorism, and violent. They got ahead of where the local police knew where the investigation was. I want to just make it clear here. This could have been an anti-Semitic attack, which is terrifying. In particular for people in the community. We don't know that.
Okay, so again, she is upset that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino made posts to the public calling this attack a terror attack. Apparently she's upset that the word violence was used. Here is a description of what happened in this attack.
There's a woman who was on the ground bleeding out. Oh my gosh, sorry. And then there are two other women whose calves were burned from the fire, and so I just ran over to stay with them and make sure that they didn't lose too much blood from their legs.
And there was a woman that was burning on the ground, and then we noticed two other people that had also been affected by the burns on their legs, and this man was shirtless and was yelling with some kind of accent and was threatening to burn people.
And again, remember, the CNN news anchor was upset that Dan Bongino and the FBI, Kash Patel, used the word violent in their description as far as this terror attack that occurred. Now, I cannot play this audio for you, but this man is yelling Palestine is free, and contextually speaking, he's yelling Palestine is free while also throwing Molotov cocktails at pro-Israeli personnel or event coordinators, people who are pro-Israeli. So of course this is going to be deemed a terror attack, and there have already been investigations into this man. We know his name is Mohammed, but I want to throw out that doesn't necessarily have to do with anything. This guy's name could be Kyle, but the fact that people are getting attacked and injured, you're yelling Palestine is free, throwing Molotov cocktails at pro-Israeli supporters, obviously this is going to get deemed a terror attack.
Boulder police officer, at least according to the Boulder police officer, they're not sure if the people injured were people at the Jewish rally, the Jewish gathering. Now, maybe others in organizations know that. We know ADL and other organizations have been out on this. Maybe they have more evidence. But one of the reasons why, Andrew and I are careful in situations like this is because lots of people are saying lots of things. But when the Boulder police chief comes out and says, we don't have 2 + 2 = 4 yet. In other words, this is obviously an anti-Semitic attack and the victims were obviously part of that group. Therefore,
and by the way, we know that they were, just so you know. But again, legacy media, mainstream media, always seems to be hours behind everybody else.
We're not calling it terrorism. It adds a lot of it's not good for the community. It's not good for the potentially targeted community. It makes law enforcement look disorganized, and it makes the FBI look so juvenile. Like, why are you getting ahead of the police chief who says, I don't know what this is. It sounds, maybe it is what we all think it is, but maybe it's not. And he has no incentive to get it wrong. So we're going to take a step back. Not be responsive to tweets by two heads of the FBI who don't have a long history in local law enforcement, and we will wait.
Wasn't Dan Bongino? Hold on. We're gonna fact check this right now. Gino in police service. We're gonna do this right now. Dan Bongino for 16 years. Dan Bongino. Law enforcement for 16 years, and you got somebody on CNN saying they don't have a lot of experience. This is CNN for you. This is why I make these videos. We just did that live. You can't plan this.
And hope it isn't what we all worry it is. And if it is, then there'll be an investigation. But that's like nothing I'd ever seen before. You normally Andrew knows this, you normally get the local people getting way ahead on motive and the FBI saying we don't have it yet.
That's right. You used to do that. But remember, 60+% of the United States doesn't trust the FBI to begin with. We saw what the former FBI director posted on Instagram and said, oops, sorry, didn't know. So anything pre-Kash Patel at this point doesn't mean anything.
You now have the opposite here. And until we know that the victims were members of that of the Jewish event, we don't have the nexus. And I will believe the Denver police chief that they do not have that nexus now. And if they do, I will be the first one out here saying that that is a hate crime. But until we do, we all need to not follow the FBI's tweets.
But again, I do want to mention she was upset that Kash Patel used the word violent. Without a doubt, this was extremely violent.
Terrorism charge. And that's the thing that we don't have at the federal level, and that's why we have discussions like this.
Paul, we're just getting this in. The Colorado Attorney General says this attack appears to be a hate crime given that the group was targeted.
Yeah, so
given the group that was targeted.
There you go. So look, I didn't have time to look up whether or not Colorado has a state terrorism charge. And
right.
if they're pushing this into a hate crime bucket, they might not.
Well, what does it mean if you are a group like this one who has frequent gatherings, or you publicize that you're having a demonstration? Are they sitting ducks?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And, that's going to be one of the things that law enforcement looks at, let's say about third, right? The first thing is to do everything you can to help anybody who's injured. You want to make sure you do everything that's a given. That's the first thing they're going to do. You do that in certain instances, even if it means the perpetrator gets away. Okay, now in this instance, it doesn't look like that happened. They have one in custody. Okay, but then you're going to look at the danger issue that may still be out there. Did he act alone? Does he have an accomplice? Is his car booby-trapped? There's reportedly a vehicle of interest on the scene.
Again, at the end of the day, this all has to do with intent, which is why, again, the FBI seems to be pretty confident in calling this a terror attack. Now, the FBI, it's being published on... Now, I want to point out, it's being perceived as if Kash Patel, within 30 seconds of this happening, all of a sudden he just said this was a terror attack. It was a good 30 to 45 minutes before the FBI came out and said this. And this is why the Boulder police are being pressed like, hey, why are you guys not acting fast enough? And here is what the Boulder police has to say.
Going on when this occurred, were a group of people gathered and were words said that would indicate this had anything at all to do with that protest?
So what I will tell you, on Pearl Street, it's a walking pedestrian mall downtown here. There was a lot of people out. Very beautiful day. There was a group of pro-Israel people that were there.
So at least we have that. He's admitting these are pro-Israeli people.
Peaceful demonstration. I wouldn't even call it a protest. I believe that happens frequently down here. They were there in that area. We are looking and actively interviewing victims and witnesses to determine if that group was targeted or others, and we just don't have those answers yet. Those are things we hope to be able to provide you later this evening.
FBI is already calling it a targeted terror attack. Mm-hmm. Would you also refer to it as a terror attack? So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while we work through a really complex scene. A lot of witnesses were here. We've taken them to another location to debrief them and interview them. As we do that, I think the picture will become more clear. But it would be irresponsible for me to speculate on motive this early on. We're only a couple hours into this thing.
Now, MSNBC doing MSNBC things, referring to the man as a white male. Again, we know his name is Mohammed. He is not a white male.
As far as the investigation itself, we're still trying to verify and confirm some video, but it appears to show a significant portion of the incident as it happened. There's an individual that's taken into custody. He's a white male. Whether or not that's the person that police ultimately arrested and will ultimately charge in this crime, a bit of a question at this time, but that's just what we've seen so far.
I mean, leave it up to MSNBC to report this story the way that they report it. Now, I did some quick research in case you were wondering. It turns out Colorado does not have terror laws. They have hate crime laws. So this means depending on what this man is charged with, no matter what on the state level, it could never be classified as a terror law. However, this might be why the FBI is already saying this is a terror attack, because as we know on the federal level, you could be charged with that. This is pure speculation. However, I'm just throwing out there, Colorado has hate crime laws, not terror laws. Remember, people are upset that Kash Patel called this a terror attack. You guys tell me what this looks like.
Stay.
Again, we had all this footage already. We, as in the independent media, the regular old people of the United States, this was already surfacing. And CNN, they admit that this was out there, but they're playing as if we cannot make decisions for ourselves. I understand you have to be very careful when you initially say, this is a terror attack, the guy's name is Mohammed, thus it's a terror attack. But again, you can put two and two together. A man is yelling, "Free Palestine," throwing Molotov cocktails. Whether or not you agree with either ideology, depending on your outlook in the conflict in the Middle East, this without a doubt definitely appears to lean on the side of a terror attack. And there the man is laughing in the background. So again, this is a complete joke for the media to even go after the FBI to question Kash Patel. Again, I understand we have always had an FBI that the majority of Americans have never trusted, but this is quite ridiculous. Honestly, it is quite ridiculous. Now, here's the icing on the cake for CNN. Why are they not questioning the Democrat leader and they're questioning Kash Patel? The Jewish community in America has once again become the target of a horrific anti-Semitic attack, as residents of Boulder gathered on the eve of the holiday of Shavuot to raise awareness for the hostages still being held captive in Gaza. The peacefulness of their assembly was shattered. Again, Boulder, Colorado police. We can all see what's going on here. Our heartfelt prayers are with all of our Jewish brothers and sisters impacted by this unconceivable act of terror. And we thank law enforcement for their swift response. Anti-Semitism has no place in our nation or anywhere throughout the world. It must be crushed. We stand with the Jewish community today and always. I am looking for a clip on CNN where they are getting mad at Democrats for calling this an anti-Semitic attack, which would definitely qualify as a terror attack, contextually speaking. Now, thankfully, we still live in an America where women like her and other people in the area are actually willing to help their brothers or sisters, regardless of their ideologies, regardless of their political beliefs. Whenever America gets attacked, we still do live in a nation where people do come together. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, the purpose of this video is not to slam the local police department. More so, why are you questioning the integrity of the FBI when we can see all of the pieces in real time? And why is CNN being so biased? Why are they not questioning the leadership of the Democrat Party? I'm just a regular old American listening to my elected officials and listening to our FBI director. If they're calling it a terror attack, again, the head of the Democrat Party, why can't we call it that? Thank you guys for everything. God bless, and we'll see you all later.